Just a couple of quick points on the Comstock lode to set the stage for what our company is. The Comstock lode was one of the largest silver discoveries at its time, certainly in North America, in 1859. So the gold rush was in 49, the silver rush was in 59 back to Nevada. Yeah, we pronounce it Nevada. And almost 200 million ounces of silver and over 8 million ounces of gold with picks and shovels, resulting in over 700 miles of underground tunnels in a 2-mile strike beneath Virginia City. It's hard to comprehend, but the New York Times wrote an article a couple of years ago comparing Facebook, when it was going public at a $50, $60, $70 billion valuation, to the Comstock lode, because at the time, in today's dollars, it was an $80 billion enterprise with 400 companies, 130 listed on the Pacific Coast Stock Exchange in San Francisco, and 234 mills. If you come visit my home on Gold Hill, you'll see remnants of 4 of those mills, and our foundation has control over all of them and has started a restoration project. So when Patrick asked me to do a case study, I said to myself, well, we use a scientific method in management in our company. So we're statistical process control specialists, we're critical chain project management specialists, we're quality systems kind of guys, but I'm not going to talk about that. Then I thought maybe we have this enormous epithermal district, certainly popping the champagne. Our guys have done the most incredible geological integration into the model. My first big lesson, don't rely on a resource. Not going to talk about that either. What I want to talk about is the fact that we're in a national historic landmark. We had about 70 tons of mercury left behind by the old-timers, causing the EPA to deem it contaminated with mercury, although safe, and no liabilities. And we had to consolidate something that today is 10 square miles under one roof. And so it's hard to exaggerate the importance of the Comstock to Nevada or Nevada mining. I never expected when I joined the company that I'd be meeting with Harry Reid, our majority leader previous in Congress, that every senator, every congressman, the governor's assistant, the state's historical preservation officer, every commissioner and their mother wanted to come see what we were doing. And when I went to the first Nevada Mining Association meeting, they pulled me aside and they said, young man, you're doing something very important here, especially from an environmental and a socially responsible perspective. Don't screw it up. And it really left me with a weight of obligation not to screw it up. So I'm going to show you a quick video. We're operating. We're actually in our 4th full year of operation, but we were operating on a very small basis because the chairman of the commission pulled me over in the county and said, young man, I'm actually not that young, and he said, start small, show us that you can do what you say you're going to do. We want to see real reclamation. We want to see it concurrently. We don't want you to leave a mess behind. So I'm going to show you what our operation looks like, and then I borrowed from the History Channel a glimpse at the Comstock lode because many documentaries have been done about it, so you have a good appreciation of who we are and the importance of what we are. Nevada is called the Silver State solely because of the Comstock lode. Nevada is battle-born because the Comstock lode funded the North, Abraham Lincoln, during the Civil War, and he admitted the state into the Union in 1864. Last year was our 150th anniversary. We did a pure Comstock coin, sold it for 1 ounce, 4.9 silver purity, sold it for $100.50, and it was overwhelming the demand. So we're battle-born because we were admitted into the Union in 1864 by supporting the Civil War, but I found out last month that the state didn't qualify for statehood by the Constitution of the United States until 1940. So with that,
Hi, my name is Corrado de Gasperis, President and CEO of Comstock Mining. I think you're really going to enjoy this video and see why we're so proud of what we do.
The trucks whine in a symphony of sound as they march to the beat of the front loaders. They pull into position and are loaded with 40 tons of ore. As one pulls away, another takes his place, then another, 12 hours a day. In the meantime, road graders and water trucks keep the haul roads open and dust-free. This is modern mining. Time-tested techniques coupled with a state-of-the-art technology with emphasis on protecting the environment. This is what sets the continuation of Comstock mining from the early days, and it's working.
We are regulated to protect water quality, to reclaim the land when we finish mining it, and to protect air quality with advanced technologies. In essence, when we leave here, this land will be cleaner than when we started.
It's been said that gold is where you find it. Comstock Mining Incorporated is founded here. It has always been here, and the land will continue to bear fruit as long as the technology continues to evolve. And that technology includes protecting the environment from the impact of open pit mining. Comstock Mining Incorporated is doing its part by cleaning up old mercury deposits left behind during the early days of the Comstock lode. Cyanide used in a leaching process is reclaimed and recycled. Nothing is left to chance. Mining is a global industry, and Comstock Mining Incorporated is part of that industry. The early miners would be amazed if they saw what was going on now in the Comstock. They would also be proud. Comstock Mining is continuing a legacy that began but never ended. The past is now our present, and it's our hope for the future.
It's in your car, on your photographs, and around your finger. You eat with it, compute with it, and admire its beauty. Silver is one of the most singular and versatile metals known to man.
Silver is an amazing metal. It has the highest sheen of any metal, and it has the highest conductivity of any metal. Because it does not corrode, silver can be used in printed circuit boards, in switches, where things have to work first time every time. That's where you need silver.
And the only way to get silver is to mine it. Almost all modern underground mining techniques can trace their origins to the most famous silver mining venture in history. The Comstock lode, a massive silver ore vein discovered in the mountains of western Nevada.
From 1860 through 1880, Nevada's Comstock lode was it was the largest producing silver mine in the world. Produced $300 million worth of silver. You almost can't overstate how important the Comstock was.
When word of the massive strike first spread, thousands of silver seekers poured into the boomtown of Virginia City, Nevada. The Comstock lode itself took its name from one of Virginia City's most colorful characters, a drifter, fur trapper, and sometime miner named Henry Comstock.
Henry Comstock was a shiftless individual, to tell you the truth. He was always looking to make a buck. In June of 1859, two Irishmen, Peter O'Reilly and Patrick McLaughlin, were on the north end of the lode here when Henry Comstock came by and told the two men that they were digging on his property, which was an outright lie, and he didn't own the property. So they had a real quick little conference there, and they thought that 2/3 of something was better than 100% of nothing, so they cut him in for a 1/3 share. And Comstock was a braggart, and he was telling everybody that it was my strike, my lode. And pretty soon the people from down below were saying, let's go up to the Comstock lode in Virginia City, and that's how it got its name.
So forward-looking statements, I'll tell you, we have a very different method of operating, and I'll just summarize it very quickly. It's very, very critical for us to have one goal. When I came to the company, the management was going like this, and I needed to get us going like this. So we have one goal. It's the only way to have alignment. We only have one methodology for measurement. I used to be a GAAP accountant. I was one of the best. I worked for KPMG. I audited companies like General Electric. I deconstructed Union Carbide when I was a kid, 24, 25 years old. And I hate GAAP accountants. And I apologize for all GAAP accountants in this room. If you understand throughput, you're welcome back into the family. Throughput is the rate at which you generate cash. We measure the rate that we generate cash by the hour. We have the right property, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Infrastructure, Bill already talked about. We have redundancy of roads, redundancy of water, redundancy of power in our county. We have the right resource. And when we started, we didn't have intimate knowledge, and the mine plan screwed us. Then we got geologically serious. Level plans, cross sections, full geological integration and control. But most importantly, we had to have the right people. Because in our industry, there are courageous people, and I was very much inspired by our two speakers at the end of the conference today, Mr. Lundin and Mr. Beatty. It was remarkable to hear people talk about achievement. People talk about building a great foundation and a great company and having the courage to see it through the hard times. I've run across a lot of people in our industry who are afraid of failure, and you have to weed those people out. You have to weed those people out of the company. They may be very technically competent, but they're not going to ever get you to the goal. In fact, they're the number one obstacle for achieving the goal. And using project management, we use an algorithm called critical chain. It's not the same as critical path. Everything we do in our company is scheduled. Everything that we do is scheduled. From closing the books, we're the only company to file our 10K in January, to building a facility. And of course, the right money. The right money means a green dollar is not the same as a green dollar. So it's very important to have the right, I call them keen investors, that are aligned with your method of wealth creation. If they're not, it's better that you don't take the money. So we have a 10 square mile district, 6 miles of contiguous strike. But what was critical is that we consolidated the entire district. We had to rezone property. We had to change master plans. I never thought the EPA would be my friend in an appeal hearing, but we had the most complimentary letter from the EPA because we're cleaning up the old-timers' contamination, and really there's no risk or liability. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do. We also are restoring and attending to the historic structures, and because of that, we're getting the social license and the legal license to sustain this production. We're doing it brick by brick. So we had to go to the state and get the Attorney General to rule that the historic district protects historic structures and not the landscape. We had that ruling, it's now legal. So we did it brick by brick, step by step, so that we can sustain through all of this. So that's the property position. That's Virginia City. That's a 6-mile contiguous trend. In the top 2 miles, there were 33 bonanzas. The most southerly bonanza was the Woodville Bonanza, and there's some of the cross-sections of some of the bigger bonanzas. What's important to know is that the old-timers mined to depths of 3,500 feet. We've only drilled on average to 600 feet. This year, we got the Mine Excellent Reclamation Award because we're doing concurrent reclamation. In fact, our permits are unprecedented in social responsibility. Mostly, we volunteer the stuff, and then the regulators catch up and stick it in the permit. So we're leading the change all the way through. And everybody asks me this question because we're in Story County, Nevada. So they ask me, where's Tesla? Where's the Gigafactory compared to your operation? Well, we're the second largest landowner in the county, But the industrial park is the biggest landowner in the county. It's the largest industrial park in the world, and Tesla's building the largest building, so they claim, in the world. So our property values are going through the roof right now, and we're the second largest landowner in the county. Although mining is our business, we own a hotel, and we own a 230-acre ranch. Everything is contiguous on our property. Just quickly, I mentioned when I started, the commissioner said, young man, we're going to give you a small permit. Prove to us that you do what you say you're going to do. That green color was our permit. After 4 years, last year, they expanded it to the dark blue. So now we have hundreds and hundreds of acres to expand our processing, and we have 2.5 gold equivalent ounces in our resource in Lucerne. We have all of our infrastructure. We've been operating for years, and we started out disastrously. I think it was like $2,000 an ounce when we started. Last quarter, our cash cost to mine was $584. So we really have done this thing a little bit backwards because we had to prove ourselves physically before we were allowed to expand and really make the entire district that we own effective. We have 4 43-101s. They're very long. I'm sure you'll like reading them. And what we did was we started mining in this little area where our grades were lower. We were averaging a gram per ton. But we have an average of about 7.5 grams per ton sitting in the center of our district. There's a road right here. In about 3 weeks, in about 3 weeks, that road will be fully realigned. And in about 4 weeks, we'll have finished the first 800-foot drift for our underground mine that will access those high-grade ores. The first piece of it is a large quartz porphyry mass. We have 46 intercepts averaging 1/4 of an ounce per ton, 7.5 grams. The second piece is actually the old Woodville Bonanza that I mentioned to you. Only 10,000 tons were mined from there at an ounce per ton. Historically, we have 118 intercepts averaging 1/4 of an ounce per ton. So that's what it looks like from the side. That's Lucerne. This is a shoot zone, high-grade shoot zone that we discovered. This is about 200 to 600 feet. This is about 800 to 1,200 feet. The deepest hole that we've drilled is about 1,200 feet. The old-timers mined to depths of about 3,500. A lot of control geologically. This is where we're mining right now. This is the road that we moved to here. When we were testing all this material for mercury contamination, it's old mine dumps, 500,000 tons. It graded 1 gram per ton. So our cleanup effort was to bring all that to our leach pad and mine it. And we're going to get an award for the greatest mercury cleanup in the history of Nevada. There's the portal. There's most of our politicians and celebrities applauding it. There's the quartz porphyry. That's how we're going to drill it. We're going to extend it to the Woodville. That whole corridor is going to be mined from underground, and we're starting to identify bigger extensions as well as that shoot zone that I mentioned earlier. So we're very excited about this whole evolution. We've partnered with American Mining and Tunneling so that we got instant competency for underground, but they've given us a tremendous flexibility. So we are way ahead. We're trying to exhaust the surface mine so that we're not redundant and we can slide right into the underground portion. The underground ore is the same metallurgy, the same rock type, oxide ores leaching over 85% already. So we're very excited about this transition to higher grade, and we're very excited about the rest of the district. We just finished 30,000 feet of drilling just south of Lucerne. Incredible grades, incredible thicknesses. And when we do geophysics, there's a beautiful geophysical chart there that you can't see. We see that even the Spring Valley, our Spring Valley is not the same as Barrick Spring Valley, it's just an extension of the Comstock district. We're getting incredible hits just under the sediment. It's all under cover in the south and in the valley. We're hitting high grades, literally 30, 40 feet below that cover. And we're hitting a lot of it. So the summary for me is that we're deploying $3 million for this underground drift and drilling, and we're going to get 5 to 6 years of mine life. We're going to do another $3 million for another 900 feet of drift and drilling, and we're going to get 5 to 6 years of mine life. Then we're going to finish the Dayton drilling, and we'll get at least 10 to 12 years of mine life. So deploy, I'm with Bill. It's not a $1 billion deployment, right? Our capital for our entire facility was about $40 million. $3 million in development gives us high-grade mine life. $3 more million of development gives us more high-grade mine life. And that's really how we're trying to do it. Deploy, return, deploy, return. So that's it. Any questions?